Hi, welcome. Today I would like to talk about C Sharp and how you can use some TDD practices. So let's just get started. So basically, I have a .NET Fiddle here, and I have a test class, and I have a test method, and I have a test one. And basically, to run this in .NET Fiddle, I'm just creating an object of this my test and call this test method, and that's all it would. So it's just printing hello world. So let's say if you wanted to do test TDD, how would you go about starting it? So just to give us an example, let's say you have a requirement to create a house. So you could just say var house is equal to new house, for example. And you think about having a class house, but we don't have a class house, so it's going to really not pass. So what you can do is basically create a class now. So let's just create a class, and as soon as we create a class it should be all good because it should pass, and the test is okay. So let's say in we have a requirement to that in the house you can add certain attributes. So let's say I'm just going to say house dot add bathroom comma bedroom. Obviously we don't have a method add, so it's going to obviously fail in this case. Let's say we have another requirement to say house, and we can add a few more attributes. So let's say just add a lawn. And just for completeness sake, let's say we have a way to check how many bedrooms do we have in the house. So we have provided a method called number of. So we can say assert are equal, and in this case we have one bathroom, so we should be able to say assert are equal one comma house dot number of. So let's say we're just creating a new method and we want to check the bathrooms, for example. So let's say we wrote some tests like this. Obviously none of these tests are going to compile and work. So we can do is fill in some methods for these cases. And instead of boring you with some of this implementation, I would like to just stop this video and copy some code I have created. So let's see if I can find the code somewhere here for these methods. So let me just copy these methods instead of having to type all this again. So let's say for some somehow you determine that you needed some methods and it was passing, and you can see it passes here. And if you look at the implementation, it's pretty straightforward. Number of basically returns looks at the particular dictionary that I have created, like a private dictionary. Here you can see house attribute. And based on the attribute key, for example, here it is saying bathroom, it returns whatever the value is, and it works. And here it is just checking to I am using called the params way, so you can specify multiple arguments of the same type to the method, and it's essentially doing some checks. So that's how kind of how the basic things work in test driven development. So what we can also check is if this is really working is if we can say assert are equal, and we can say 0 has house number of garage, for example, because if this was working we should have expected the number of, but you can see the dictionary doesn't have this key and it's failing. So in a typical TDD development, when you see this problem you'll go in and essentially fix the implementation. So what we can do is if house getter contains key attribute, then we can return this thing, for example, and if it doesn't then we can just say return 0. And now if we do this, so you can see this is passing. So that's really the typical way to do test driven development. The main advantage I see with this is that sometimes people can forget writing some of the critical test cases. So you would this would essentially force you to write some of your critical test cases first, guaranteeing that you have them. In a typical test-driven development, it may or may not help you how you would go about designing your classes, the methods, the code. So that still needs to be done. But essentially, as far as I can concern, in a practical matter, it just tries to make sure that you have tests that are created and the tests are actually something that are useful, and you do not really go ahead and modify those tests to become more elaborate and more complex. So that's kind of my take on TDD. Let me know what you think about it, or what the fuss is about, or whether you have used it in your own development. And please share that opinion on the YouTube. And I will also add this video to my website under what the fuss is about. Thank you for watching this short screencast, and you have a great day.